Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Fix. He's Drew Martin. I'm Peter Loshak. This is a show we do every Thursday where we take a look ahead to the upcoming weekend in MLB and take a look at notable pitching matchups and team matchups that we think might have some betting value. The second half of the MLB season is underway. Drew Martin, as I know that you know this only because I've told you about 4 or 5 times today, but
Okay.
I've won 7. I'm on a 7-day winning streak in my morning shows. Today, though, was a very tricky day. Everyone in the comments section acknowledged that there weren't a lot of plays they were liking. There were like 3 borderline plays that I wanted to make. One was Arizona to keep my streak going second half, which cashed, and I didn't make it. The other one was Boston first 5 over at 6, which also I didn't make, and that one did cash. And the third one, the one that I wound up making, was Detroit on the first 5 innings, which goes tonight. So I'm feeling a little bit nervous. I don't want my streak to end, Drew Martin.
Still pending.
Yeah, still pending, Drew Martin. But the point is that MLB is underway in the second half. Obviously, the Cubs are rolling. Obviously, the Dodgers are rolling. Obviously, the Nationals are rolling. Right?
Let's talk about that one.
Yeah, sure.
The Nationals,
Yeah.
a 1.70 bullpen whip the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
And they're rolling. How is this? Are they going to be able to keep this going, do you think?
That is the question. They did bolster their bullpen a little bit recently, didn't they? Who did they acquire again? I can't remember.
They did. The Oakland A's.
Yeah, that's right. The Oakland A's guys,
yeah.
right?
I picked them up on my fantasy team.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Yeah. So this is actually one of the series that I have starred here that I wanted to talk about. I'm not exactly sure what I think about it because Arizona, still, their overall year numbers on the year are great. They're still the top team in baseball in terms of ROI at home at plus 20%. Washington is plus 17% ROI at home. On the road. And Arizona, they closed out the first half really shittily, and then they continued the second half. The slump was still there. So, I know a lot, even in the morning show today, a lot of people were commenting. They were like, once they get their head on straight, they're going to be a great team. And I agree with that. But some people, including maybe myself, thought that might happen, might have already happened here in the second half, and it hasn't.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting series. It could be who knows, a playoff preview here.
Yeah.
But, I mean, especially tomorrow's, we got Scherzer. Do you have a pitcher for Arizona tomorrow?
I was seeing Godley, right?
Okay,
Yes.
Scherzer's going to be a big road favorite then.
You think so? Yeah, because that's a game. I was thinking, my thought was that Arizona may come back home and have fix their mental issues, whatever's been plaguing them, but that if they're going up against a weak team, I'd want to bet them. The Washington is looking like a juggernaut right now.
No, and the new bullpen help.
Yeah,
like you were just saying. I'm looking to bet on the Nationals. Not
Me too.
Them.
Friday, I don't know about because, as you said, Scherzer's going to be a big favorite, and Godley might be able to keep up with him. But I don't know about the Friday game or the Friday matchup. But Saturday, Drew Martin, it's Rourke against Banda. Now, Rourke, of course, has had a crappy season this year overall.
Yeah.
But that might serve to keep the line a little bit low. As we remember from last year, Rourke was a great starter, and his last start was a little less shitty than his other starts this year. So maybe Rourke is turning a corner and going up against this guy, Banda, a lefty who had a 5 ERA in 78 innings in AAA this season, 40 walks this year, which is the 3rd most in the PCL. So Banda is looking like he might be in for a shelling here.
Yeah.
And if he is, all you'll need is like 6 innings, 4 runs from Rourke, and you're probably going to cash. So maybe we look to the over on that one, or maybe we look for Washington as just a modest road favorite.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, Arizona pitching, coming back home, I think you make a great point that they could get kind of regrouped at home. They didn't put that humidifier into
that's
the
coming
stadium
next year.
Yeah, they made that choice not to do that because they have been playing well at home.
Yes.
Right? So
overall,
but
not in their recent slump. In their recent slumping, they were still bad. And Washington has an off day. Arizona actually plays at Cincinnati today. Well, they won obviously, but and then they go home. So they did get a big win today. And I was so nervous. I wanted to take them on the second half as my play to keep my streak going, but I shied off it just because there seems like there's something wrong with them. Maybe the big win at Cincinnati now gives them some energy. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it could. It's in returning home and getting a win. It's going to be a lot shorter, a lot better plane ride, so could be in a lot better mood.
I don't know. I'm thinking that I'm still leaning Washington here, not on Friday, but on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Strasburg against Ray. And Ray is a guy who, as we know, has worse numbers at home overall this year. He's struggled a little bit more over his last 5 or 6 starts. Strasburg not lights out, but his last start was excellent. So because of Ray's reputation, you might again get a very modest number here for Washington. I think I'd be leaning Washington on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, do you think we'll get him under -140?
Who's Strasburg?
Yeah.
I think so. Because, I mean, I'm not sure, but I'm assuming that the market sees Ray as like somewhat in his league.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, if it is, I'm going to definitely be looking to be on the Nationals, though.
Yeah, I'm vaguely looking to play on the Nationals in the upcoming
That
series.
is a tricky handicap. You're right.
Yeah.
Ray coming in and the Nationals, D-backs at home. And it will be getaway day, or do they have a 4-game series? I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't check that. But, yeah, so that's it. That is an interesting series. Let's move on to another series that is interesting that I have circled here, and that's Milwaukee at Philadelphia. Now, they played at Milwaukee in the first series of the second half, and I suggested that Milwaukee might be a good bet. They did win 2 out of 3, so I think if you bet them in each game, you made like, a third of a unit or something like that. Now it's going to be at Philadelphia, and as we know, Milwaukee has been much more profitable on the road, right? Plus 25% ROI on the road. Philly minus 20% at home in terms of ROI. And Milwaukee, of course, slumping on their current series at Pittsburgh, where they got swept. But Pittsburgh, a team with some nice pitching and some life to them at home. So I think maybe Milwaukee, the change of scenery might help them out here. What do you think? Do you think Milwaukee might be a play in this series?
Yeah, it's a short trip. They're going to the other Pennsylvania town there. And yeah, the Brewers, I think, from a couple years ago, they had the lead in the division, gave it up late in the season. It's almost like this might have a feeling of that again if the Cubs can overtake them here. But I tend to think that lineup is still underrated.
Sure.
It's still a sleeper starting pitching staff. We've obviously got good value on them up to this point in the season if you've been betting on the Brewers. And I would actually look to parlay that and keep it going.
Yeah.
I think that this team is a little bit under the radar in the betting markets.
It's a tricky one. The weird thing about Philly is I associate them as having a bad lineup, but actually they started hitting a bit before the All-Star break. And since the All-Star break, in the second half, they've actually been decent offensively. In 5 of their 6 games so far, they've scored at least 5 runs. That's, it could be
that's not bad.
Somewhat due to variance, but I think they have some life to them. Again, though, yeah, so this is another series where the Friday matchup scares me. It's Garza against Nola. Nola's looking really good.
Yeah, he has.
Yes.
Garza,
Not terrible, but definitely way more shaky. I don't really want to bet against Nola. I think wasn't Nola the guy who started against Chris Sale, and I bet against him, and I got burned there? I think he was. I'm not betting against Nola right now. The other 2 on Saturday and Sunday, though, Suter against Hellickson. Suter pretty solid. Hellickson can be good, but can also get hit. And then you have Guerra against Eickhoff, and Guerra is shaky. I want to fade him, but Eickhoff also kind of shaky. I think we might see roughly an equal starting pitching performance from the 2 of them. I'm thinking maybe Milwaukee on Saturday and Sunday, just like the other series, might have some value. What do you think?
Yeah, well, that Guerra matchup. How did his last start?
His last start was against the Pirates, and it's interesting. The market faded him. The Pirates did wind up winning, but actually Milwaukee was up 3-zip in the first 5, and it was a very high total, 9.5. And I said to myself, you know what? That's an overreaction. I took the under on that one, under 9.5, and Pittsburgh did take a lot of money in that one, and they did wind up winning it, but it was close. They were down early, and then they wound up scoring 4 late, and they wound up winning 4-3, kind of a typical Pittsburgh home win by 1 run as a big home favorite that goes under. So Guerra was, he gave up some runs in that one, but overall, he's looking like I'd put him maybe a tick worse than Eickhoff right now, but not more than that.
Yeah, and keep in mind the market is against Guerra big time. He's going to get faded right off the bat. The odds makers are probably going to shift themselves on this. So it's almost did you miss the boat on fading Guerra at this point?
Yeah, sure. I'm thinking that as of right now, we'll see what the lines are, but I'm thinking that I'm leaning towards Milwaukee on Saturday and Sunday, but no way I'm going to take him against Nola. Nola might have another 7-inning shutout start. He's starting to look like one of those pitchers who can hold down any lineup, especially when there's no DH. All right, Drew Martin, there's 2 other series I want to bring up. Before we get to that, what would you like to bring to our attention, Drew Martin?
Let's see. We got Cahill-Samardzija. Putting Cahill in a pitcher's park. He pitches at home in a pitcher's park, but it'll be in San Francisco versus Samardzija. I don't know. And Samardzija's already getting priced over -150. I just think even fading Bumgarner tonight at -182, could the Pods pull it off like they did against Cleveland and cash some big plus price
I
tickets?
think they might be able to. You know, they went into Colorado and got swept, and that was a little bit. I think you give them a little bit of a pass. I mean, in general, I tend to throw out results at Coors in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they got swept at Coors. Obviously, you know, Colorado had huge offense in that series, and you're right. What they did against Cleveland is kind of similar to what we might see here. San Francisco has not been as overpriced as Cleveland has been at home this year, but I think they're the second most overpriced team at home. A great fade at home. Cahill has been, you know, better than some people expected. He's been pretty decent this year, and you might be right there, Drew Martin. I actually would lean that way. I didn't bet them tonight, but I did, or maybe I can't remember. I think I did bet them actually, very small, because Chassin has been, pretty decent as well. So yeah, you might have something there, Drew Martin. Yeah.
I faded Bumgarner his last time out. Got a close win. Nothing to brag about for sure. But remember, his minor league rehab starts weren't all that great. He got rocked a couple times, and his last time out, he wasn't terrible. But to be pricing him over, you know, as high as minus 190 right now at WagerWeb.
With that team behind him. Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's overpriced.
Yeah, so I think you might be right there, Drew Martin. All right, the next series I want to bring up, this is a big one, right? Houston against Baltimore. Now, we know that Houston lost Correa, but we also know that they have, you know, a stacked lineup anyway. How big of a hit are you giving Houston for the loss of Correa?
Pretty big.
Pretty big.
I think he's a hell of a ball player.
Of course.
I think he's very, very good, and you know, Houston in general, they're a lineup that can go without one guy. It's not like Freddie Freeman is to the Braves or something like that. Not even close. I still think, you know, Houston under the minus 140 price tag. I'm going to continue hammering it. You're way up on the season if you've been doing that to this point.
Yeah.
So I'm going to continue to do it. Although Correa, he is, you know, at least a 10 cent, maybe.
It's a huge loss, right? But as you said, they've got just such a stacked lineup anyway. It's a tricky one, and the question is, how much of a break will the odds makers give you because of Correa being out? Baltimore plus 16% ROI at home, and their offense has been explosive at times in the second half. But Houston, Drew Martin, what do you guess their ROI right now on the road is? Houston right now. Jeez. Take a guess.
Very, very good.
Yes.
Will you
want to give a specific? Okay, it's plus 43%. That means if you had bet Houston in every single road game this year, just blindly bet them, flat bet them, you would be up 43%, not of what you started with, but 43% of the entire amount that you risked. So that's a ton of units up. That is a massive ROI.
Jeez, yeah.
So now they're on the road here against Baltimore. I'll tell you my thoughts on this one. The Sunday game scares me a little bit because McCullers has now had 2 straight subpar starts in a row. His peripherals look very promising for the second half of the season unless he gets hit with an injury. I'm thinking McCullers might be injured. Here's my prediction. We'll come back to this. I think McCullers might go on the DL at some point in the next month or two.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So,
well, he's had 2 bad starts in a row.
Would you recommend fading him?
I don't know.
What's his velocity looking like?
I'm going to have to look into it. I'm going to look into it a little bit more, but he's had 2 very suspect starts in a row. I don't understand why, and you know, I'm going to look into that a little bit more. So the Sunday start, and Bundy on the other side is a guy who was getting hit in the first half and then seems to have gotten a little bit refreshed with the break. So Sunday, I'm not sure what I think about that one, but on Saturday, it's the return of Colin McHugh going up against Chris Tillman, and Tillman off of a couple of better starts, but I still got to think he's very vulnerable. McHugh making his first start back from the DL, and I don't know how the market's going to price him, but I'm thinking Houston might be a good bet there. And then Friday, it's Fires against Jimenez, and as we know, Jimenez basically either gives you, 25% of the time, he gives you a 7-inning shutout start out of nowhere. The other 75% of the time, he gets crushed. I'm going to bet on Houston -1 or -1.5 or maybe even -3, something like that. Fires against Houston.
I'll be on Houston. I'll probably lay it with the big price.
Right.
And Marwin Gonzalez playing shortstop.
Yes.
He's a great ball player.
He is.
He can play all over the field there. So yeah, just to reinforce as far as
for sure. All right. So I'm thinking about Houston on Friday and Saturday, not on Sunday though. I'm a little bit nervous about McCullers. And then the 4th series that's caught my eye, Drew Martin, is Texas at Tampa Bay. Now Texas is -4% ROI on the road. Tampa Bay plus 7% ROI at home. And a few people that a few of our commenters in the morning shows whom I respect, expect Tampa Bay to maybe be a good bet on undervalued in the second half. And the Texas Bats have been really slumping so far in the second half. We'll see if they can't hit Wade Miley, then there's something serious here. They're going up against Wade Miley tonight. We'll see how that game turns out. But so far, they have really been slumping in the series against Baltimore. And now they go into Tampa Bay facing some better pitchers. They're going to be facing Cobb and Archer. And then Odorizzi, I'm not sure what to make of him on Sunday. He's been bad overall this year, but his last start was his best start of the season. So he may be turning a corner. And in general, I feel like Texas, their bats are going to be quiet this series once again, and that they're going to struggle here, and that Tampa Bay might be a good bet in this series. On Friday, it's Darvish against Cobb, so Tampa Bay won't be a big favorite there. Saturday, it's Cashner against Archer. Archer, I think, will be good for 6 innings, 3 runs once again. And then Sunday is Ross against Odorizzi. Ross is definitely a guy, I told you, as soon as he came back to the majors, I was like, I don't believe in this guy right now. And he's had a few good starts, but in general, I'm looking to fade him. He got crushed in his last start. Odorizzi's off his best start of the season. So overall, I'm thinking Tampa Bay might be a good bet in these 3 games.
Yeah, and another thing to add to it, it's a little bit of a tough travel spot here. You got a night game. For whatever reason, MLB didn't do him a favor with a night game in Baltimore, having to travel to Tampa.
And Tampa has an off day.
Yeah, so the bullpen, watch the bullpens tonight as well. But yeah, I agree with you. I would actually be looking to bet on Tampa Bay, and don't forget, Tampa Bay, the wild card holding Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Drew Martin, we're very, very busy in the office right now, so those are the only series that I wanted to bring up, and the exact pitching matchups, which I usually like to look at. I haven't had a chance to crunch yet, but is there anything else you'd like to discuss with us, Drew Martin, or should we wrap this up?
I'm good. I'm good, yeah.
All right, sounds good. That's our preview of the upcoming weekend's series in MLB, and Drew Martin and I will do this once again on Monday. Catch you then.